Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Cubist. Now Cubist is a game that came out in 2013, which is a few years back now. In fact, it's by Griffin Games, not Eagle Griffin Games. So it's before those two companies came together. It doesn't matter, but it just kind of gives you a bit of a timeline for games and how games are structured and brought in. Now, I understand that there's a game that's come out recently or more recently that is very similar to this. I can't for the life of me think of the name of it at the moment, but it exists. So what this game is a dice rolling game. You get to roll 2 dice on your turn and you've got to build a structure. So sometimes it's a 3-dimensional structure, so you're going to go up levels, in which case you have to put dice on top of itself. Then there's also a base level, which all seems okay, except that if you and someone else are playing the same base level and the other person finishes earlier than you and takes that card, that structure is no longer available. So you now need to work out what's happening with the dice that you've put into your place, into your area. Now, on top of that, whenever you take a card that has some dice on the bottom, those dice can be added to the main structure, which is a structure that everyone is working on. There's a real nice lay of this piece, this game. It's just kind of, it works really smoothly. I find that there are some extra actions that can be taken, which are shown by cards, which have artists on them. I can't think of how many times I've played the game, but every time I've played it, I've had to go back to the rulebook to find what each of those artists do. I'm sure that the iconography makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time. There's a little bit of that you've got to keep looking back. Personally, I find that I tend to not use those cards too often. However, the players I'm playing against will quite often go after those ones, and that's really cool. It's another way of playing because it allows you to manipulate the dice that you have and the dice that you've built up. This is one of those dice games that is super frustrating but also not dice-ish at the same time. So you'll roll your couple of dice hoping for a certain couple of numbers because they're the numbers you need, but you can store them for next time. So if you've got a couple stored and you roll another couple of dice, you've now got 4 to choose from. And if you get doubles, you can go after those cards I was talking about earlier. Sometimes you're going to have to just dump stuff. Sometimes you might be able to start a second structure. You've got 2 spaces that you can build structures in. So it makes sense to work at that with really different numbers so that you're not kind of going after the same numbers all the time. If you watch my videos, you'll get an idea of how the game plays. It's a relatively straightforward game, as I say, and it plays really easily and it's just natural and easy and comfortable, and I guess that's it. This game is comfortable. You can sit back and just kind of, I'll roll the dice. Okay, cool. I'll put them there. Okay, next person, and just wait till your next turn. And it's one of those games that you can use as a not having to think too much, but still there's that little bit of thinking. It sits in that real nice spot where you're having to think about some things, but it's not too thinky, and so it works quite nice. The box itself says it's a 30 to 45 minute game, and I agree with that. The building on that is really a worthwhile thing, so it kind of just fills in some space, fills in some time while you're getting ready for another game. It plays up to 4 players, so, you know, if you're waiting for a 5th or 6th person to arrive and you've got 4 people there, you can just pull this one out, have a play, and by the time you finish it, hopefully they've got here. And people who have arrived late, they don't mind just sitting away. Of course, it's only about half hour. It's actually a really good time length for a game like this. And it's nice and thinky because what you can do, and what I found is a really good way to approach the game, is looking at the 3 available things that you're trying to build and building bases that fit more than one card until you have to go for the extra spots to be able to take the card. So if you watch my playthrough, you'll get an idea of how that actually works out in playing. But what it means is that you can kind of hedge your bets a little bit. If someone else is going to get that card, then you've got another card that you can work on without having to do much problem. And that's really the problem, is where we get into an interesting spot. If you have something built in your area, a structure built in your area that doesn't fit the makeup of any of the other structures, the last thing that you can do is just tear the entire structure down, get rid of those dice, and start again. So, but that takes a whole turn to do, so you kind of lose a turn to be able to do that, which is why you need to gradually build up towards this thing. It's a real nice little puzzle. So look, I think I'll leave it there. Go on and watch my gameplay and my Gamesplanation and see what you think. If you've played this game before and you really like it, comment below. If you haven't played before, have a look at it, see if you like it, go and find the game. Anyway, I'll leave it there. If you've got any comments or suggestions, please write them below. Follow my Instagram or Twitter at the Gamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.